I think there's a lot of people in the game that have good intentions, that are in coaching positions, they're in management positions. You know, I think we're all really trying to do what's best for the player. How we get there, I think there's a lot of disagreements, and there's a lot of things that I even see in it that I don't necessarily agree with. But it's like you said, little league and seasonal sports, like there's a built-in development process there, and we don't utilize it, right? Whether it's we don't put the right people in charge of it, we don't get enough kids playing in those types of leagues because the travel ball thing is so enticing, or people feel like they're missing out if they're not doing that. Travel ball in itself is really, again, to your point, like the only part of it that doesn't have a development process built into its structure, which I think is probably crushing the amateur side more than anything else. High school ball is a built-in minor league system.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you got freshmen, you got JV, you got varsity. For our freshmen, you guys are gonna, eat a hell of a lot of food and lift a hell of a lot of weights, and we really can't wait to see what you do when you get on the field. You get a chance to play JV for a year. Hey, we really need to see this. You got to get good at these things. Our pitchers have to be able to do this, this, and this. Our position players, hitters, they have to be able to do this, this, and this. When you get to varsity, we should be in a good spot to go compete. But that's not how it works for any high school. No high school takes advantage of that. Because if you got one sophomore that ain't starting as a, varsity whatever hitting in the middle of the order, they're transferring schools or they're leaving or whatever else. Damn, dude, most freshmen feel that way. Oh,
How
man,
about
we're
an
not.
organizational meeting from a high school coach? Hey, here's the deal. We're going to have a meeting once a month. I need the freshman coaches there, JV coaches. We're going to talk about what our strategy is. Like, dude, these varsity, and you guys are a different beast. Like, you guys, I know a lot of great coaches down in Southern California. Northern California, coaches make nothing. They tie no jobs to them. So, like, down there, and there's some private schools here too, where they'll be like, hey, we just need you to be like admin on campus and do X, Y, and Z. And like, so they get a job out of it, which makes it enticing for them. But when you're just this volunteer, essentially, like, obviously I get it. There's not a whole lot of motivation when you're not making a lot of money, but it's like, they don't even know what's going on at freshman and JV. They literally heard a story the other day. The JV coach keeps bunting with one out in the middle of a JV game. And it's like, what? Like, what are you doing? Like, we should never be bunting at the JV level. Like, they got to develop their skills on how to play the game. Like, this should be just like they're not going to bunt in the minor leagues. It's like, we're not worried about how you can bunt. Now, if you get to the big leagues and you're a guy that we're going to need to bunt eventually, great. We'll pull you aside. You figure out how to get to this level. Let's add that to your repertoire. But like, you got to just be good enough to get here. And we're dealing with these high school coaches that don't even see what happens below the varsity level.
Dude, I see it all the time. And I get it. And I feel for every program out there that's limited on resources, maybe they can't get a full staff of coaches at the freshman or the JV level, sometimes even the varsity level. I totally get it. But it's just, there's so much information out there. I mean, make a Twitter account, dude. Like, make an Instagram account. You spend 24 hours there, you can come across so much good information, and especially from a team setting. You're going to find so many great coaches that are sharing what they're doing and how they're evolving their practice plans, and what major changes they made in the last couple of years that took them to a state title or this or that. Join the ABCA, start watching some videos. Like, there's all these resources out there that I'd like to think there's no excuse to not be caught up on what's going on. And even if you disagree with some of it, at least you're informed and you can challenge it and do whatever you think is best for your org. But you're right. They don't have those systems in place. And we see it with travel ball. I see all these travel ball teams or organizations like, oh, we're a college prep program. We're a development program. We're an educational program. Cool. What's your hitting philosophy? They don't have one, you know. What's your pitching or your catching philosophy? Like, what, strategy wise, like what changed between this year and last year? You guys do have a whole new lineup. Like, what's going on? there's usually not a whole lot there. And not to say that there aren't schools that are crushing it. Like you said, in SoCal, we have some great baseball down here. We have some phenomenal high school coaches. There's a lot of good things going on here. But I think when you look at the amount of kids that are out there searching for people and organizations to trust, we're still missing the mark. And in my eyes, that means we're still doing a disservice to more kids than not. So I think we can all get better there. And that's something that fortunately we get to kind of do at Futures. We get to work with these high school programs and orgs and different travel orgs and whatnot. And, it obviously takes work, but it's definitely a missing piece of the amateur side.
And I think it's, and that's why we do what we do, right? Like we are strictly on the skill development side. If you enjoyed that, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll have a new episode for you every single Tuesday here on our YouTube channel and wherever you listen to podcasts.